Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of my conversation with Angie Patrick from Oakworks. If you haven't done so already, be sure to listen to our last episode so you don't miss anything. Now, here's part 2 with my conversation with Angie. Enjoy.
You're listening to the Handcrafted Therapy Podcast with massage therapist and business owner, Julie Alexander. That's me. I'm your host. I've been a massage therapist for 17 years, and I have a business marketing degree. On this podcast, we'll be interviewing industry professionals that can talk to us about how to run your business better, how to be a better massage therapist overall, and how to take care of yourself and give yourself a little love, a little self-care, little grace in your life. I am so glad that you're here. Thanks so much for joining us today. Okay, Angie, I want to shift topics for a minute because I want to talk about products. Where are we headed? What's the future of massage therapy products? What does it look like? Because you have a unique perception that we don't. Speaking of perception, you can see what's going to come out later. And I think we all are curious what's coming in the pipeline.
So I love this question because there's a lot of cool things. Like, where do I start? From let's start with massage lubricants. Let's start with that first. I think that there is a strong focus now, and there always has been, about how it is for the client experience. Is there good grip? Is there good glide? Does it leave a residue on the client and so forth? But I think there's more of a focus on what is it doing to the therapist, because it's your hands that are in it 8 hours a day, however long you practice per day. So what is that doing to the therapist? How is that working for them? So I think more and more the products that have been created really for more of a client experience are now taking into consideration the usage of the therapist. And that's happening certainly in the massage medium. It's happening in equipment too. We're talking about, how do we improve proper body mechanics? How do we make sure that therapist is using the right product and using it properly so that there's no injury, there's no long-term injuries? Because an injured therapist is an unemployed therapist. The longer you can protect yourself and your own body mechanics and your own physicality and your own mentality, the better you're going to be able to serve. So one of the things, and this is not a plug, I'm not trying to plug Oakworks, but one of the things, to your point, and what I'm trying to say is the better body mechanics, that we created this ProLux convertible, which is a lift mechanism that you put your existing portable table on. So you're not investing in two different kinds of tables. It's a lift that will allow you, if you have an environment where you can remain static to some degree, but you also want that flexibility to do the out calls, to go visit your clients. That's what I'm talking about. That was an invention that happened. It was born out of necessity, and certainly came about because therapists are becoming more and more eager, I think, to look at long term. How long am I going to be doing this? How long am I going to be? If I'm 25 years old, do I want to be doing this in 40 years? What kind of shape do I want to be in that time frame? So things like the lift tables, the more affordable lift tables, are happening out there. And Oakworks is certainly a pioneer in that field, but there are others as well. I am a fan of go shop, go look. Now that I've given you that piece of knowledge that there are things out there, go look at all the manufacturers, go see who is congruent with your philosophy. Then when we talk about therapy, the massage therapy model and the massage franchise model is highly successful. But what's happening is new modalities come about. So finding ways to partner with some of these other modalities. Now, I don't know what that looks like yet, but let me give you an example. Like drip therapy. Have you seen these drip therapy lounges where you go in and you get your IV infusion and they give you all the fluids, you get rehydrated, you get all the vitamins, all the things? Almost always they have a massage component within that facility. So finding ways to coexist and even bolster those types of therapies along massage with those kinds of therapies, I think is important to look at as well. Now, are massage therapists going to be doing IVs? No, of course not. You need a phlebotomist for that. But are you going to maybe be working at some point if you're going to not own your own place or have your own business? Might you be in a facility at some point with that type of therapy? Yeah, you might be, because that's coming on strong. That's a big important thing. The things like the vibroacoustic therapy, the sound therapies, that's also coming on board. So maybe you look at how you're going to work with someone who's listening to music and feeling those frequency vibrations whilst you're working on them. So there's a lot of different products that are coming out that are going to be adjuncts or performed at the same time as your therapy session. And especially if you're going to be in a brick and mortar location as an employee, you're going to be exposed to that. So when we talk about where the products are going, wellness is growing by leaps and bounds and in different directions. But I think at the base, at its core base, massage therapy is really going to be the mainstay, and people will want massage therapy no matter what kind of therapy they're going in for. Do you have massage? You might be going to your chiropractor, but do you have a massage? Do you have a massage therapist on staff? You might be going into one of these drip lounges or one of these hydration lounges, and okay, but do you have a massage therapist on staff? That's almost the bottom line everywhere. And I don't see massage therapy taking a back seat. So we, I think as a group, need to find ways to make the synergies happen, and where they're not necessarily always standalone silos, that they can be used in conjunction with one another to create a greater positive outcome for the client. Because there's some amazing stuff going on out there. There's some I love the salt therapy myself. I love just being in a salt room. That just makes me feel better. I breathe better. I think better. I just love that. And now there are therapists who are doing massage therapy in salt rooms. So it's just a matter of how do you cross over? Do you use the salt stones for your massage therapy and for your heated stone massage? Many people are doing that. Many franchises are doing that. Many spas are doing that. And that was born quite literally out of a combination of recognizing that salt therapy is a viable means by which you can create a wellness experience, and coupling that with massage therapy. So there go your massage stones. So there's a perfect example of learning how and finding ways to combine therapies to affect a greater good within your client.
Love that. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about based on what you were just saying. And what an exciting way to think about the future of massage is combining new therapies that we're seeing. But I want to go back to the table that you were talking about, that when I first saw it, it blew my mind, which is I can't remember what you called it.
Convertible, the Prolux convertible.
Table,
yeah.
Where you take your portable table and you just put this baby folded up on top of the hydraulic part of your table, and it turns into a hydraulic table. And I think that that's going to be so well received in the market. And I'm going to be selling them in my store. So I wanted to pitch that out there to all people who are waiting to buy a table for my store to open. That might be a very good option. So just know that that's coming with my store when we open in the spring. So for those of you who are keeping count, we are now hopefully going to be open in the spring. So the second part of that I wanted to talk about was marketing, which is, you don't have to be an expert in salt therapy or IVs or cryotherapy or stretching. You don't have to go into all that, especially if you don't want to, or you have no desire to be in those fields. You don't have to do any of that. You can stick with massage and what you like to do.
Mhm.
What I suggest, though, for people who want to expand their business, get more people in your door, have a wait list client. This is what I've done, which are go to those places, float tank therapy places, those places that are synergistic, that have, and what I mean by synergistic is they have the same target market as you. The
Yep.
same people that are going to float tanks, that are going to these salt therapy places, that are going to the IV and cryotherapy places, chiropractors, wellness centers, dietitians,
They
gyms.
will all want massage.
Let me just go on
Yep.
and on and on with this list. Walk in the door, put down your wall, open yourself up. It's
Yep.
scary, but you gotta go hit the floor. You gotta
Yep.
go walk the walk. You gotta knock on doors, introduce yourself, give them your business card. Now, what I did to build my business back 7 years ago was I offered on the back of my card, I put your first visit is 50% off.
Wow, that's nice.
It's a great offer. And I would say, now I would talk to the front desk person. I would say, maybe at the cryotherapy place, I had a stack of cards and I told her, if you send me 3 people, 3 clients, you get a free massage.
Brilliant.
So that's how I built my business. So she would, whoever it was, I mean, I would go to dentist offices because they were in my complex. Dentistry and massage kind of go together.
Those people have teeth, they have skin. So if they've got skin and muscles, they're a client, they're a potential client. So good on you. That's brilliant. That's a great marketing strategy. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, and if you're a sports massage therapist, go into the yoga studios, Pilates places, the gyms.
Yep.
All of those places, hand out your card. You don't have to go around to the clients handing out cards. Talk to the front desk person. Give them an incentive like that. Maybe it's 5 referrals and you get a free massage. Maybe you're not comfortable with giving 50% off the first service. The reason I did it that way was to hook them.
Yes.
Because I knew once they got one massage from me, they would not ever want to go to anybody else. And not to be not humble, but I knew the quality of work that I gave. And I knew that when they came in, they realized right away that I was going to provide an excellent quality of service. My second point to this whole 50% off is that they know up front that this is not regular price. They know they have a huge discount to start with. And that from that point forward, they knew they were going to pay more. And
you established that right up front, up front. I love that.
You got to make it clear to them that this is not your regular price. You are getting this at a discount. This is not something you will continue to have as we move forward in your services. I know that especially the younger generations, as you know, it's difficult to introduce yourself to new people in person. I know that that's a struggle. We're coming out of a pandemic. We are attached to our phones. We don't look people in the eyes. We don't shake hands as much as we did before. And I think it will really give you leaps and bounds above your competitors in your area if you actually walk in and introduce yourself to these people that are synergistic in our industry. Like I said, I know it's hard, but once you start doing it, it gets easier. It's like riding a bike.
It really does. And then you get your verbiage together, right? How do you want to talk about yourself? How do you want to say what you do? How do you want to share with them, like in a 2-minute spiel, right? Everything that you need to say that's going to intrigue them and get their attention. Because to your point, the goal is to get them on the table. Because once they're on the table, then you have your opportunity to impress them with your skill set, with your surroundings, with the way that you present yourself. And then before they leave, you have the opportunity to book that second appointment. And if you fail to do that, if you fail to ask for that appointment and you wait for them to call you back, you've just given your service away for 50% off, and you may never see that person again. You need to get the commitment that they're going to come back the next time. Now, does that mean you elbow them in the eye and say, you're coming back or else? No, of course not. But it does mean you ask for that business. And that, to your point, therapists are not really, in my opinion, in my experience with the literally hundreds of thousands of therapists that I've met over my career, they're not ones to just go out and toot their own horn and talk about themselves. Most are humble, caring individual that care more about other people than they would actually care about themselves. They give of themselves to depletion in order to help other people, right? So to sit and to tell somebody for 2 minutes, maybe a minute, what you're good at and what your skill set is and how you can help them, that's not necessarily top of mind and the first thing that a regular massage therapist is going to want to do. But when you practice it, and practice it with your friends, practice it with your cousins, at lunch, whatever, wherever you are, practice it, and you will get better at it. And pretty soon you won't be able to shut up about yourself, because then it's like self-help. And it's like when you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I love you today. And you're a good person today, and you're worthy, and we're going to do great things today. When you first start doing that in the mirror, it's like the weirdest thing ever. You're like, I'm talking to myself. This is so crazy. But pretty soon you start listening to yourself. You find that you're convincing yourself. And so repetition is everything. And so when you're trying to change a mindset, when you're trying to change a behavior, when you're trying to change a perception, repetitiveness is necessary, and it gets easier. It really does get easy. I love the way that you marketed yourself. I think it's so smart. And I think it's that kind of ingenuity that really set you apart and put you in the position where you are now to open your own facility, your own supply store, your own. Hey, by the way, sidebar and squirrel, let me just go over here. You were talking about people in your local area that's going to be close to you. Listen, you've got listeners all over the United States. So if you're selling something from us, from Oakworks, that you would like to have drop shipped to a location, like if you want to sell something to somebody in Oregon, I'm going to do that for you, honey, because that's your listeners. That's your market. And we want to support you. I want you to be so successful. And I want to do everything I can do to make that happen for you. And if that means that we drop ship something for you, then that's what we're going to do. So just don't think, I just don't want people that are local to your little God's half acre, that they're the only ones that can feel your love, because you can send that love elsewhere, and we will help you in as much as we can to make sure that happens.
Thank you so much, Angie. And if you're listening from a different state, we're in Plano, Texas, which is the suburb of Dallas. And if you're in a different state, if you're in a different country, handcraftedsupply.com will be the place to go for your supply needs. And you heard it from the source. She's going to be able to drop ship those cool convertible tables to your door.
You
can have it. Just let me know. Now, we're still a work in progress.
Sure.
So this website is not quite up and ready yet. I'm not sure when this podcast episode will be live, but I'm probably about 95% sure that the website's not going to be ready by the time this launches. But be prepared, because it's coming. It's coming. So thank you for adding that. Angie, I want you to talk a little bit about your special project in Orlando. Are you okay with talking about that on my podcast?
I would be honored to talk about that.
Yes,
I would be honored to talk about that.
I'm gonna preface this with a mascara alert. Because when she shared this story with me on the phone, I probably wept for, gosh, how do I put this? I wept for your loss. I wept for your daughter and her sweetheart And I wept for your just pure ability to harness your energy into such a lovely project. And I can't wait for you to share it with us.
You're going to make me cry. You're going to make me cry. Okay. I'm the first one. I'm first.
No.
Oh, girl.
Almost every episode of this podcast, I've cried, laughed. We've gone through the gamut. So again, we're giving you hugs, honey.
This is a project that I'm so grateful that you brought up. I didn't anticipate talking about it here, but I'm so grateful to have the platform to share it, because it's really a story about love coming full circle. Back in 2004, I was working for a massage warehouse and I had a baby. I was 38 years old. Oh, there goes my age. You can do the math. There it is. I had a baby and she was premature. She weighed 1 pound and 4 ounces. She was littler than your cheeseburger that you had for lunch. That was Olivia. And Olivia was the joy of my life. And I feel like because of Facebook and other social media outlets, other philanthropy pieces that I've done throughout my career, I talk about her, and she was such a big part of my life, that this whole community, if you've been in it for a minute, you may know about my daughter, and she was a ray of light. She really was. But when she turned 4 years old, she was diagnosed with brain cancer. So on top of being premature and ridiculously delayed, then she got the double whammy and had brain cancer. So fast forward 13 brain surgeries later, countless trips to the ER, countless doctors, countless therapy. She fought hard. She fought for 17 years, and I lost her. She died in my arms. I know that's when her spirit left her. Her body left her. The body left later, but her spirit left when she was in my arms. And that was on December 13th, 2021. And so understandably, my husband and I have been just grieving and trying to find the sense in it all, and shaking a fist at God, which is not the right thing to do. Shaking a fist at the world, which is not the right thing to do. It's easy to get mad. It's easy to be mad. The true test of character is what you do with that. You can sit there and be a miserable POS, or you can figure out how to turn that into something. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. I wasn't even in the headspace of doing that. And then a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, I got a buddy in Florida that's opening a spa. Do you think you can help them?" Well, yeah, of course. That's what I do. Of course I'm going to help. So I get on the call and we're talking, and he says, "My name is such and such, and I'm with a place called Give Kids the World, and I work out of Orlando." Well, as love would have it, and I used to say as luck would have it, but I'm pretty sure it says love would have it, I had to tell him to stop talking. Don't say another word, not one, because I got to tell you my story. My daughter was a recipient of a Make-A-Wish in 2010, and we stayed at this amazing village that is built for special needs children and children who are having illnesses that are beyond the pale, right? That are challenges that no child should have to deal with, certainly no family. And this village is an amazing place of hope and love, where you go and you spend 7 days as a family. And that 7 days you get to spend Halloween. You can have Christmas. You eat ice cream for breakfast. All of the rides are accessible for all kids. If they're in a wheelchair, fine. If they're on a gurney, fine. If they can walk, fine. Everybody gets to play, right? The pools are all zero entry. There's 79 villas. So they have, at any given time, 79 families that are on property, that are there, that are taking their turns at the parks and doing all the things. And nothing at this place costs the family a dime. Nothing. From the food they eat, to the games they play, to the rides they have, to the place where they lay their head at night, nothing costs them a penny. This is all handled through foundations, through wish foundations, through corporate donors, through private supporters, through you name it. People with the kindest hearts and donations have contributed. So I knew firsthand what this place was all about. So I didn't even let him finish his sentence. I'm like, you just can't talk anymore. I have to tell you about Olivia. Olivia's favorite place on the planet was Give Kids the World. And if you've been there once and you can get back there again the following year, you can come back and get a day pass and come and experience again. Well, I had many trade shows in Orlando year after year. And for the years that she was healthy, she would come back with me down there, and she and her father would go to Give Kids the World and spend the day. It was her magic place. It was the place that Olivia flourished. She could do everything that the other kids could do. She wasn't different there. And she just enjoyed life. So much so that she wanted to go back when we would come home. She goes, well, I want to go back to my real house, my real place where I really live, and I'm like, okay, so we've got this house here, but this is not where she lives. In her mind, her home is Give Kids the World. So fast forward, they say we're trying to open a spa wellness center for the caregivers. And that's what we're doing. So I share with them my story, and I'm like, whatever you need, whatever I can do, I'm in. I'm 100% in. I couldn't be more in, because I could just hear my daughter in heaven hearing God say, I'm going to do something and Give Kids the World. Maybe I'll open a spa. She sat beside me for 17 years, hearing me open spas from home. For how many thousands of spas have I opened? I don't even know. So I think if there's two sentences in her world that she recognized, one was open a spa, and the other was definitely Give Kids the World. So when she heard those things, in my mind, she's running over to God and saying, my mama is who you need. My mama is the one you need. So I feel like this has been divinely brought about on so many levels. I could go on and on about all the God winks that have come as a result of this. But as I'm talking to this gentleman on the phone and telling him my story, this beautiful female voice came on the line, and I didn't even really know that I was on a speakerphone. And she said, what was your daughter's name? And I told her it was Olivia. And she goes, well, then it's settled. We're going to name it Olivia's Oasis. Y'all, I mean, to be brought about to Olivia's favorite place in the world, to open a wellness center, which is what I've spent my life doing, and then to have them be so generous as to name it in her honor. Is there anywhere else I'd be? Is there anything else I'd be doing? No, there's not. So they said, can you come down here and visit the spa and visit the space? I said, of course I can. Where do you hear this, guys? I said, when would you like me to come down? They said December 13th. Do you think you could come down? I said, yes, of course I can. Of course I can. Because I wasn't driving that bus. That greater power is driving that bus. And he's got a little bitty co-pilot named Olivia. And fast forward again to December, the minute that she died, I was standing at Give Kids the World, Night of a Million Lights, standing in front of Santa Claus that was 30 feet tall, in her favorite place in the whole world, working to open a spa that has been named in her honor. And I just feel like this is just love coming full circle. My daughter was nothing but love. And she would show that to humanity any chance she got. We would go to stores or the grocery store or the mall or whatever. Inevitably, she would find the very person that you would never want your special needs child running up to. And you would say, please, stranger danger, don't go over there. The first couple of times I stopped her from doing it. And then I realized, no, that's what she's here for. Because she would run right over to that person, throw her arms around their neck and say, I love you. Aww. That's it. And inevitably that person, more times than I could count, would just burst into tears, because she knew somehow in her special needs world that person needed help. That person needed to feel love. And she, in her little way, gave it freely without wanting anything back, just other than to get a hug. That was her thing. So for all of this to come about, and for now there to be a facility that I have the opportunity and the blessing to be a part of, that's going to come about to care for these caregivers of these children at this village, who are working so hard to make the 7 days that they have at the village the best 7 days that that kid has ever seen and that they will ever have in their life, and they'll remember it till they're 100 years old. You know, God willing, they're going to remember it for the rest of their life. That's a lot of pressure to put on a parent. You know, not bad pressure, but you want it to be perfect. And when it can't be, because all things are not perfect, when it can't be and something goes wrong or somebody gets sick or there's some stress or maybe you just need a minute to breathe, this place that's now going to be called Olivia's Oasis is going to be that respite for these families. It's going to be for the adults, for the caregivers, and it's going to give them a grown-up place to go to get therapy to help. So we're going to have salt therapy. We're going to have hydrotherapy tables. We're going to have manual massage chairs. It's going to be kind of a standalone facility, not so much driven by massage therapists and medical professionals, because I think that they see enough of that, right? They see enough of that in their world, but there is need for mind, body, and soul rejuvenation. And I think that this place will provide that for these parents. The people that I work with at Give Kids the World are some of the most selfless, loving, unbelievable people. They're like angels walking this earth. They have 1,800 volunteers a week that's needed to make this place happen. And they have them.
Wow.
You know, there's a steady flow. And a lot of them are parents like myself who the ultimate memory that they have is at Give Kids the World. And that's the best time that they had, you know, where their kid felt like they were typical, that they weren't the special one with the challenge. You know, they come back and they volunteer year after year. It's just a story of such tremendous love. And I am beyond blessed to be a part of it. So I'm happy to say that we've had some incredible donations from some amazing partners with equipment, with supply, with so many things. And I'm going to write and have it published a tremendous thank you to all of them for their incredible outreach. I feel like my whole career, and this is going to sound cheesy, but it's how I feel. My whole career, everything I've ever done in the massage and spa space, everyone I ever met, every vendor I ever worked with, every vendor I ever helped, every therapist, every person that prayed for my baby, it has brought me to this moment. It has brought me to this project. And I am 100% sure this is divinely driven. I got no doubt in my mind, and I'm going to give it everything I got. And we're going to make that place amazing. And it's already amazing. We're going to make Olivia's Oasis amazing for these parents, for these caregivers who give so much. And I'm just honored that you gave me a moment to talk about this because it's top of mind for me. We hope to open in April, top of mind for me. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share it with your audience. Right back at you, sister. Olivia would do this so much. She would say, "You make my heart feel super happy." And that was her thing. She just gave love. She just gave love.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I'm not crying. You're crying. Oh my gosh. It's emotional. It is emotional. And we're just over a year now having lost her. And she visits me in my dreams. I see her from time to time. It's not the same. It's not the same. But the people that we're going to be supporting, they have their children. They're still fighting that battle. You know, we didn't win ours. But for those who are still in the fight and still putting up their dukes and going at it every day and saying we're gonna win, we're going to win. I want to support that. I want to support them, and I want to support them for their kids. And that's what this place is doing.
I'm so, I don't even know if I can talk right now. I'm so emotional, but I think as massage therapists, because we are caregivers and we have a special place in our hearts for other caregivers. And I think you're right. I think you were divinely driven to reach this mission and goal in your life, in your career. And I absolutely believe that Olivia is your wings that are making this dream a reality for these caregivers. I mean, we all know that there's the Make-A-Wish and that, we all know about these kinds of programs, but to take that a step further and to take these caregivers that literally put themselves last every single day of their child's life. I'm sorry.
I know where you're going. You're right.
We all know somebody or have been in those shoes where we are literally the last person on the list, or they are the last person on the list that gets cared for. And for you to open up this facility to focus on them and to love on them and to embrace them with all the care and joy and all of that. I'm just so thankful for Olivia.
Thank you. I am too.
And I'm thankful for you. And I'm thankful for the whole project, because I think Olivia's ACES is going to be super successful and needed in our world. Angie, can you provide us with information on how we can make donations to this?
Mercy. Oh, wow. I can give you the website. And I would love for you guys to just, if you ever just want to feel good, just go check this place out. Look up Give Kids the World in Orlando, but I think the address is gktw.org. Also on YouTube, if you look up Give Kids the World, there's a tremendous amount of videos on Give Kids the World from people who have had, wishes granted, people who have volunteered. But I'm confident that if you go to the gktw.org, that there will be a place for donations. As I said, the whole project, not just Olivia's Oasis, but the entire village is run on the kindness of donors. And there are some pretty high-speed corporations that are behind it. But there's also a lot of little folks like us, individuals who maybe they got $5, maybe they do. And maybe that's an ice cream for a kid, every penny helps. And we've been able to build the Oasis thanks to donations and gifts from foundations, and certainly been able to stock it thanks to the amazing people that I've met in the industry that have given of their time, of their efforts, of their products. It's been a labor of love, and there will be a time. I wish I had everything together so I could thank everybody individually, but I will be publishing, and there will be definitely outreach so that everybody knows who all has been a part of this. And they're going to be names that you guys know. They're going to be names that you recognize, and that's been tremendous for me, because there's a lot of people that I would have never been exposed to in my life that are a part of this. So I'm excited about it, and I'm also excited to bring this to our community, because just for all the reasons you said, we understand what it's like to be a caregiver, right? And what that is to give of yourself far beyond what you're really expected to, or anybody would expect of you. We expect that of ourselves. And that's what these parents do. They continue to keep going to the doctor's appointments and the things and the therapies and the surgeries and the tests and the pokes and the whatever. They do that with their kid. And even though that's happening to their child, it's happening to them too. Because if you're a parent, nothing that happens to your child doesn't happen to you first, and you feel every bit of it. So to give them a place to just go be a grown-up for a second, even if it's just to sit on the sofa in a quiet room next to a water fountain with aromatherapy, with a salt lamp, just so they can be alone for a minute and think things through, to reset and re-energize. That's what this is about. And the amazing people at Give Kids the World saw that need and decided they were going to do something about it. And then thanks to my daughter bugging God, I got involved. So it's a blessing all the way around, and it's healing. I'm not going to lie. It's healing. It's healing for me, because it's given me a purpose. When you can turn, my friend Craig told me, when you can turn pain into purpose, then you're doing it right. Then I feel like I'm doing it right, because this is my new purpose.
Kudos to Craig. I totally agree with that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've
Thank
had
you.
a few clients that are caregivers on my table. And one thing that I continue to have to reiterate in my messaging with them is I hear the phrase, I feel guilty being here. And
Yep.
providing that safe space where they know their child is fine and they're taken care of and they're in their happy spot and they have that to off their plate for just an hour or however long they're there is such a peaceful moment that they don't get. And I'm so thankful that there's a place for them because I think it needs to be more prevalent in our community. But we have to start one brick at a time.
One brick at a time. And really it's born out of all of this is born out of, where did it start? Massage. That's where it all came from. Massage, because that's what people associate with relaxation, right? So it started out as being a place where you could go get massage, and then we realized all the things that went with the salon and a spa, like employees. How do you get the therapists? How do you bring these people in? And it's a special population. What about the releases? And what about it just became so big. And so we said, well, my gosh, why can't we just provide a space that they can use, kind of stand alone with standalone therapies that will enable them to just get their mind right. Like my dad used to say, get your mind right and everything else will go right. So just a reset, right? Just a reset button. It's like a grown-up reset button. And that's what I want this place to be. And that's what I think Give Kids the World's vision for this is. And thank you. Thank you for giving me a platform to share this with your audience. Thank you, Julie.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. I know it's a very personal one. And sometimes it can be very challenging and emotional to share something so near and dear to your heart. But it's completely my pleasure to help spread the love and the message of Olivia's Oasis.
Thank you. It means more to me than you know. Thank you. Many good things are coming about too as a result. I'm meeting so many new people, and there's so many other ways that we're like, I'm already thinking past Olivia's Oasis. Now we've got to finish it. But what about all the volunteers? You heard me say 1,800 volunteers. I haven't talked to Give Kids the World about this. They don't know that this is what I want to do, but this is what I'd love. This is my vision. Those people, it takes a special kind of person to volunteer at a place that it's not easy. You see some things and your heart, if you're a caring, loving individual, it takes a special person. And so I see this in my mind going well past Olivia's Oasis. Maybe there's something for the volunteers, a volunteer center that's built so that they can rejuvenate. And maybe if it goes past that, now I'm dreaming really big, right? There's 79 villas. What if there's something in every villa that the whole family can do together? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that scratches and sniffs like. I don't know. But I know that this is a divine project, and when it's time, it'll show itself. The means by which to make that happen will show itself, because I don't think that love stops. I think it keeps going. And part of that is just the infinity sign, which is the logo going on the sign for Olivia's Oasis. It's just love going in consistent circles. Just keep on going for infinity, and find one way to do it, then find the next way to do it, then find the next people you can help and the next people you can help. And that's, I think in these latter years of my life, that's my focus. How many people are we going to be able to help? How many people can we outreach? How many people can we change the life for? And that's, heck, I think that's a pretty noble goal. And I'm blessed to be able to do that. And with your help and your support, Julie, you inspire me.
Well,
thank you, friend.
You inspire me. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm looking forward to hearing how this plays out. I'm going to give a little teaser here because Angie and I have already talked about doing a second episode of this podcast. I want to do it after you open Olivia's Oasis.
Perfect. I'll have videos and everything at that point. Yes.
After I open Handcrafted Therapy Supply, we're going to be down the road a little ways. I think we're going to have some more information to share about both projects. And, maybe our next project, our next scary thing that we're attacking in life, right?
Right.
Do something scary every day that and maybe it's walking into that chiropractor's office and introducing yourself.
Yep.
It's one step at a time. But eventually you might be at the point in your life where you realize that it's your Olivia's Oasis project, and maybe you're not there yet, and maybe you don't even know what that project's going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And that's okay. You're on your own path.
Right.
But continue to be kind and gracious and humble to yourself, because you're also a caregiver. You and I and the people that are listening to this program, give yourself some love, look in the mirror every day and say, I got this. We're going to be fine. Everything's good, But I've taken way too much of your time.
I've so enjoyed spending this time with you and with your listeners. And thank you for having this podcast and outreaching to therapists and being that beacon. Thank you for doing that. We need more people like you, and you are a shining light. And thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you. Truly. Thanks, Angie. Is there anything else you want to add before we stop recording?
Other than to say that I'm thankful for a career that has brought me such joy, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit of what I've learned along the way with your audience. And if I can be of any assistance to anybody that's listening, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm at Oakworks. Can't miss me. I'm the only Angie there. And I'd be happy to help you.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Handcrafted Therapy podcast. I would love to hear from you. You can email us at podcast@handcraftedtherapy.com, or you can come by the store. It's at 3303 North Central Expressway, suite number 240 in Plano, Texas, 75023. Or you can connect with me on social, Instagram, Facebook, #HandcraftedTherapy. I'm Julie Alexander, and I wish you a very happy and healthy day.